His homies are breaking my face open and he walks up behind me and starts slamming the flashlight into the back of my skull. Over and over. AskReddit by Lurker. People who have survived an attempted murder. What is your story? My older sister tried to stab me with a large knife in an attempt to kill me on my 16th birthday. My mother grabbed the knife off her before it got my stomach and slammed her against the fridge and yelled at me to run. Last time I saw my older sister she said I've gotten over it and you should too. It's pathetic to hang on to it. She then told people it was self-defense because I tried to hurt her. I was literally eating my birthday breakfast. I didn't sleep properly for 2 years while she was in the house because she constantly tried to break into my room at night to slit my throat while I slept. I hate her. My mom attempted to murder me and my sister when we were younger. She was going through a psychotic episode and pretty suicidal, and I said the wrong thing that set her off. She chased us down to the basement with a knife. We ran into my room and my sister hid in the closet while I tried to fight my mom off at the door. She was trying to push it open while I was trying to push it closed. It was a back and forth struggle until she put her hand in the door. I think she was trying to engage my non-violence because she thought I wouldn't shut the door on her hand. But I slammed the door over and over again until her fingers broke. Meanwhile, my dad who was in the house finally came downstairs to check in what was happening. Mind you, this all happened very fast and my dad has a habit of zoning out when my mom gets in her episodes. He ended up pulling her off of the door and my sister and I ran out of the house and jumped in our van. He drove around the corner and turned off the lights and we all ducked down in our seats to hide and stayed there until my dad saw her drive our other car off. I feel like I am very late to the party but my uncle was attempted murdered by random and pure bad luck. He was living in a high rise and some crackhead pressed every single buzzer. Someone let him in out of laziness, not caring, wanting the buzzer to stop. The crackhead proceeded to knock on every single door down the hallways and my uncle is the first to answer the door. The crackhead pulls out a pair of scissors and plunges them into his throat. The crackhead then nonchalantly walks out of the building and says to a passing couple, "You should probably call the police because I just murdered someone." He was picked up very quickly, and my uncle survived for a year or two before his epilepsy killed him. Edit. In addition, it was a very small world, as my uncle went to school with this crackhead 30 years earlier, and knew his name to identify him. Not that there needed any more evidence in the case. Reposting my story from another thread, I had this old Nissan UC, or 300ZX non-turbo automatic, and I was trying to sell it for about 6 months at the time of this story. No hits. No one wanted this thing. I was pretty desperate. So one day, I'm at a gas station at about 9 PM and this mid-30s Latino person walks up to me. He's dressed in a button-up long-sleeve shirt. Looks like he was just off work somewhere. Seemed friendly. "Man, is that thing fast?" he asks me. "Yeah, fast enough. It's for sale too," I reply, assuming he's talking to me because of the large for sale signs on the windows. "Oh yeah? How much?" he goes on. Asks about the car. Asks to do a test drive. I insist that it's too late. My girlfriend is waiting for me, but somehow he convinces me to let him take it for a spin around the block. Maybe I was an idiot. Maybe I trust people too much. Maybe I was threatened. Honestly, I don't remember. I don't remember a lot about that night. My next memory is of us driving out of the gas station. I tell him to take a left and go around the block. At this point I'm nervous but still calm. He makes a right turn. And that's about the point I freaked out. Why would he do that? Where was he taking me? What do you say to a man who has an intent to rob you but hasn't done it yet? "Hey," I said, "make a la." "Oh sorry, I didn't hear you." "Hey man, does this thing do donuts?" he asks as he pulls into the empty parking lot of a .99 store that's closed. "I'd really prefer you D." He slams it into low gear and does a huge donut in the middle of the parking lot, chuckling and smiling to himself the entire time. I ask him to let me out. I don't want any part of this. He rolls the car to a stop in front of the store. It's nearly pitch black outside. "Hey man, if you're stealing this car you can have it. I don't even like this car." "Nah man, I'm not stealing your car. I like it. What's your phone number?" I pull out an old receipt and write some random numbers down. assuming the instant I step out the door he's going to drive off with the car. As I open the door to step out, I'm looking back at him to get a good look at his face, so I can remember it for a police report or something. I stand up and close the door behind me, and then, in the dark soup of the night, I see them. Two large thugs are about 4 feet from me, plaid shirts, probably 250 pounds or more each, covered head to toe in tattoos, beaners. They're close, and have me pinned with my back to my own car. And before I can even say the words, I'm struck in the face by a cinder block of a fist, and then another, and then it's a rock slide. I put my hands up to block my face. They hit my hands, my arms, my ears, my temples. I black out. I'm still standing, but I don't remember any of this. What I know from here is pieced together. The driver gets out of the car. He pulls out a large metal mag light from his pants. His homies are breaking my face open, and he walks up behind me and starts slamming the flashlight into the back of my skull. Over and over. All my life my mother said I had a brick head. I could always take a hit. Flashback. When the car was doing donuts in a parking lot the thug assumed was empty, in front of a business he assumed was closed. A small group of ladies were inside doing a weekly clean of the store. One of them called the police about a Nissan doing burnouts in their parking lot. And that same lady, I'm atheist but should there be a god, may he bless her soul, she ran out the front door and yelled as these 3 goons were murdering me. They stopped dead in their tracks. The 2 vatters sprinted for their tussle, and the driver and his flashlight ran for my Nissan. Run to me, she shouted at a semi-conscious meatloaf wobbling in front of her. I ran. Or stumbled. Maybe more of a shamble. Who knows? There was just blood. Blood everywhere. As I came to the front of the store I collapsed. Nothing left in me. A pool of blood surrounding my soon-to-be corpse. The driver Nissan gunned it, straight at me and the lady. Leave no witnesses. She pulled my body back as the car came by so close it left tire marks in my pool of blood. In the sky above, a police helicopter picked up the car as it left the store. The woman still on the phone with 911 telling them about the violence. He screamed up our main road and slid onto the freeway. The car was fast. They estimate he was doing 155 miles per hour as they followed him with their lights off. Police cars started piling up behind him about a mile back, their lights off. You see, for the past few months, our city had suffered a number of violent carjackings, including one where the thief pushed the owner of his car out of the vehicle on the freeway and dragged him to death as he was still in his seatbelt. The police wanted to know where home base was for these criminals, so they followed him in stealth. He exited the freeway and parked in a dead-end street in an industrial area. Figuring he was just hiding and not going to the chop shop, they swarmed in and arrested him. Saving you the boring details, they were going to give him something like attempted murder along with a million other charges. He bailed out and never showed up for sentencing. He was unheard of for about 6 years. When they picked him up for murdering another person, my arms were hamburger from the punches. My face wasn't pretty before, but it's different now. They had to staple my skull together, and I'm told if he hit me again it would have been the end. Flashlight straight on brain tissue. My mom always said I had a head like a brick. Didn't happen to me but to my best friend. So my best bud sold a little bit of weed here and then for some extra cash. Well, one day he was at his apartment playing some Black Ops when he hears a kick at the front door. To his surprise, there's 2 guys, whom he's never seen before, standing over him with a shotgun and a small caliber pistol. One of the is rummaging through his house trying to take anything worth value, while the other one with the shotgun is jamming the steel barrel into the back of my buddy's head neck. So he says the guy who's running around robbing the places goes back and forth from the apartment to her car waiting outside about 3 to 4 times. By the 4th time, my buddy hears the police yelling, "Stop, don't move." Well, that guy takes off running. So by the time he knows it, the guy with the shotgun runs out to try and make a getaway also. But as he's in the doorway of the front door surrounded by cops, he pumps the shotgun and gets blown away by the cops in front of my buddy. I had just bought a full sheet of acid. This was 20 years ago. Sorry FBI. And I went over to where my friend was living with a bunch of roommates to share the wealth. I knew most of the people he lived with, but there was one guy staying there who I hadn't met before. I basically handed out however many doses people were tough enough to take at once, including 3 or 4 hits to the new guy. We came to find out pretty quickly that new guy had never taken LSD before. Okay, no problem. He's at home. He's surrounded by people he knows, except me. He can just chill and have a good time. We wanted to watch a movie, so we landed on the Brady Bunch movie, which is trippy AF. BTW, everything's going good. We all start peeking and we're laughing and having a good time. And then, on the movie, the little girl Cindy is getting advice from her dad and says, "But I don't want to be a snitch." New guy stands up and roars, "Is that what you think? You think I'm a freaking snitch?" We all try to calm him down. Explain to him that it's a line from the movie. We even rewind the movie so he can watch that part again, but nothing is working. He's tripping too hard to reason with, and he's convinced that we're accusing him of being a snitch. Then he starts pacing back and forth, muttering, "This is the kind of sheet that makes motherfuckers kill. This is the kind of sheet that makes motherfuckers kill," over and over. Great. He zeroed in on me, I'm sure because he didn't know me, and he's still pacing back and forth and muttering, but now he's giving me a death glare while he does it. I'm getting pretty uncomfortable, obviously, and I'm also peaking from like 10 hits of acid, so my ability to cope with the situation is pretty low. I stand up because, well, there's a guy I don't know pacing around behind me muttering about killing people, and I don't want my back to this dude. This would be a really intense situation even if I wasn't tripping balls, but the acid certainly doesn't help. Suddenly he pulls out a huge hunting knife, lunges at me, and tries to stab me. I dodged him. Then he made another try, but by that time his friends had jumped up and were holding him back. He's struggling to break free and screaming, "You think I'm a freaking snitch? I'll freaking kill you," and I took the opportunity to bop right on out the door. I was about half a mile from my house, but it took me about 2 hours to find it because I was tripping so hard and I kept getting lost in my own neighborhood. Addendum, he was, in fact, a snitch, and the whole house got raided a few weeks later. A bunch of the guys who lived there got arrested for drugs, although my friend had moved out by that point, so luckily he wasn't one of them. TLDR. Guy taking acid for the first time tried to stab me with a hunting knife because he thought Cindy from the Brady Bunch was accusing him of being a snitch. It turned out he was, in fact, a snitch. Thank you all for watching another installment of our AskReddit. If you haven't done so already, make sure to give that like button some sweet chin music, and subscribe for more awesome content. Check out these videos below. I'll see you in the comment section.